Hey guys, Matt, Train Level 943. In today's video, I have a comparison video per request of Train Room Gary. He wanted a comparison between the MTH and the Lionel Legacy command systems. He wanted the pros and cons of each system. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Okay, so I start off all my comparison videos off the same way, and I just want to quickly tell you guys that these are my opinions on both the Lionel and the MTH systems. If you don't agree with these opinions, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But one thing I would like to do is I would like to hear your guys' opinions on the MTH and the Lionel system. I think it's really cool for me to hear what you guys have to say besides on my videos, besides, you know, like nice video or some stuff like that. It's always nice to hear a little bit more about the model I'm reviewing, or in this particular case, the comparison between these two command systems. So if you guys have your opinions and want to tell me them, that's completely fine. I will be glad to read them. So anyways, let's take a look at the command systems. Okay, so this system here is the Lionel Legacy command system, and then this right here is the remote to the MTH DCS system. The TIU is back in our main control panel, and I have the Legacy over here, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the command systems. We'll start by taking a look at the MTH, then move on to the Lionel. Okay, so here's the MTH controller. Now, I'm not exactly sure how you guys can see this because it's a little bit dark over here, but as you guys can see, it's a pretty big controller in the hand. It's really nice. It's kind of light, but oh well. So we'll kind of run through some of the features here. Got your self-explanatory buttons up here, you know, your bell, horn, direction, that type of thing. Down here you can throw the couplers and do some labor sounds, pretty cool. And then you got some of your one-touch features down here. So overall, it's a pretty nice controller. I really like it. Now, Gary wanted to know the pros and cons for each system. So as far as the pros go for this, it's a very well built controller. I really like it. As far as running the trains go, it's actually pretty easy because you got your throttle wheel. If you want to hit the horn, you can do that. Change direction, pretty simple. And then as far as some of your one-touch features, your startup, shutdown, smoke, volume, your PFA sounds, pretty cool. So as far as running the trains go, it's actually pretty easy. So that's my pro for this. Now the con is messing around with the settings, because to mess around with the settings you have to use the menu button, and you present it with the menus here. And in my opinion, scrolling through these menus is a little bit tedious. I would kind of wish they would be in like one central place where you hit like a button and you can just use the wheel instead of having to go through all these menus and such and finding the one you want and scrolling through the features or whatever. So that's where my only con is. I would like to see a little bit more easy way to use the menu features. And also another thing I'm not crazy about is the more options on the locomotive. If I hit that, you can see all these different sound features and such that come up on the engine. And again, this is kind of like the menu button. It's a little hard to find the feature you want, or you might click on the wrong one or something like that. So it can be a little bit tedious at times, but other than that, it's a pretty okay remote. Now, I have seen the application, the wireless Wi-Fi app that MTH has, and I don't have it yet, but I've seen it, and it's really, really cool. So maybe I'll end up picking that up in the near future, and if I do, I'll be sure to do a video on it, because in my opinion, the app is a little bit easier than the remote, but oh well. So that's basically going to take care of the MTH system. Now move on to the Lionel. So here we have the Lionel Legacy system. It contains the remote, like you see here. And then we have the base system, and the base doubles as a charger for the remote. You can set it in here and charge the batteries. The batteries do come with the remote, which is pretty cool, and that's one thing I'd like to see MTH do, because I've it's nice not to be able to replace batteries in a remote, which is kind of cool because I gotta usually replace these about every 2-3 months or so, something like that. But oh well. So the back of the Legacy base, it's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can move it a little bit. So here we go. You can see we have the antenna here. This is the power cord that goes off to the wall. This is a serial port, and that goes to the Lionel wireless Wi-Fi module. So that's what that goes to. And then down here, this one is the power connection to the track. Now if you're using the MTH DCS system in conjunction with this, like we are, wiring the Legacy to the track on the DCS is pretty simple, because all you do is you go to the output channel of the track that you're running, and you take that black wire and you jumper it to each of the connections to the outputs of the track, and then you'll have both the Legacy and the MTH running together. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a minute, but anyways, let's take a look at the Legacy system. So here's a little bit better look at the remote. As you guys can see, we have the top screen here, and both these are backlit, which is another really cool thing I like, which is something I'd like to see MTH do, because they have a backlight on their controller. But the thing is that it drains the batteries out of the controller pretty quickly, and it's a little bit hard. That's why, again, I like the backlight on here, and plus I like the fact that you can charge the remote, so that way the batteries would never really drain. So we have the name of the engine up here. This here is the speed of the train. If I was to increase it using the throttle wheel, you can see that it continues going up. The black bar down here is the train brake. Then we have the engine, the speed, some of the different features for accessories and stuff like that down here. We have, this is the touchpad here, so we have some of the features that you'd use, like the tower comm, the smoke features, some lighting features, which is pretty cool. We have the horn controller, the bell. Go down here, we have the aux 2, which is used to turn the lights on and off. We press it and hold it, you can see some more lighting features. Hit the speed, you can see the speed steps as well as this graphic here, and this is used to increase or decrease the labor sounds on a steam or diesel engine to make the sounds sound more laborious, which is pretty cool. We have the direction controller here, the brake and boost. We have the throttle wheel, of course. Then we have the momentum keys down here, so pretty cool. And the pros for this is that it's a very well built remote, and I really like the touchpad. It's very easy to run the trains on here. Now, unlike the MTH system, to access any settings on the remote, all you do is you hit the CTC button once. See the name of the railroad there, and you use either the throttle wheel or you can use the scroll button to scroll through the settings that you have, and you can choose one if you want to. Then when you're done, hit the CTC again, and that's basically that. Now, there is one con with this, and it's nothing to do with the Legacy system whatsoever. It's something that deals with the cross compatibility between the MTH and the Lionel system, so we'll talk about that right now. So the issue with this whole cross compatibility thing is that there can be times where you have signal interference between the Lionel and the MTH system, and that is the very reason why the Legacy is away from the DCS TIU, because there has been signal interference problems on our layouts. Now, again, I talked about this in the beginning, but that's the reason why. Now, there is several ways you can fix this. This is probably the easiest way, and again, all I did was I moved the Legacy base about 12 feet away from the TIU, so that way the signals aren't interfering with each other, and that seems to fix the problem. But another thing you can do is you can run a bare copper wire either alongside the track or maybe on the above the table or something like that, so that way that will stop the interference between the track. Now, like I said, we just moved the base. I don't know if that copper wire thing would actually work, but if it does, oh well, we're not going to use that because it'd be a royal pain to do all that wire stuff. It would, because we have such a large layout. So, but oh well. But that's really my only con with the legacy system. Other than that, I really like it, and I think it's a ton of fun. So I really hope this answered your question, Gary. If any of you guys have any other questions regarding the systems here, just go ahead and ask them, and I will be sure to answer the question. Or if you want a video of it, I will be sure to do that as well. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I'm Matt, Trainer for 943. You guys have a great one.